Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, and Dan Marino. Some of you may have heard of these names before, but for those of you that haven't, they are some of the most successful NFL quarterbacks of all time, throwing more touchdowns than most of the other quarterbacks ever. However, this didn't occur overnight, and there's a lot that goes into each successful touchdown pass, including a supportive team that can help complete the touchdown. As avid watchers, we will discuss today the workings of a touchdown pass. We'd like to thank you for your attendance today, and we hope that our presentation will increase your understanding of what goes into a successful touchdown pass so that you may better relate to football in the future. To inform you of this process, we'll first talk to Garrett, who will tell us about how to throw a good pass. Then we will talk to Eric and hear about what goes into a successful catch. And lastly, we will hear from Jed, who will talk about how to run for the touchdown after making a catch. So, for starters, let's head over to Garrett to hear about throwing the ball.
Now, let's see how to throw that perfect pass. According to Instructables.com, hand placement is key for that perfect spiral and perfect pass. So as you see here, first place your index finger closest to the end of the ball, then place the middle finger at the end of the laces, and then next place the ring finger in between the second and third laces from the back. And lastly, place your pinky between the fourth and fifth lace and then wrap your thumb around the ball, as you can see pictured here. Now on to the next step, which is your stance. Stance is important and keeping a good base to allow you for more power and balance. That way you can throw a farther and deeper ball, such as what Ron Kellogg did to Jordan Westerkamp. Now on to the final step, which is the follow-through. Follow-through is key at the end of the pass because it helps with accuracy and the spiral that we all want for that winning touchdown, as happened against Northwestern here a few years ago. Now on to Eric on how to catch the ball.
Thanks, Garrett. Catching the ball is by far the most important thing because without catching the ball, the play can't continue and the touchdown will not be scored. I'm going to explain how to use proper eye control as well as proper hand placement when catching the ball. Keith Williams, the current University of Nebraska wide receivers coach, also known as Dr. Rabbits, is considered by many to be one of the best in the business. On February 26, 2016, he tweeted out a picture, a Photoshop picture of a player with a camera in the place of his eyes, explaining that a player should use his eyes as a camera to take a snapshot of the ball, making sure you keep your eye on the ball the entire time. If you take your eyes off the ball during the process of making a catch, you will drop it and it will result in incompletion, again, not resulting in any touchdown scored. It's very important when you're catching the ball to extend your hands both ways, where you catch it in front of you. You catch it with both hands, arms out extended away from your chest. If it hits your chest, it will often drop and again results in incompletion. It's very important to make sure that you have a secure grip on the ball when catching it because the ball can be thrown several miles per hour. Now on to Jed with running with the ball after catching.
Thank you, Eric. Once you catch the ball, it's important to start running. It's also important to know which direction you're running because ultimately you want to score a touchdown. While running with the ball, there are a couple key components that need to be incorporated. The first being how to correctly hold the ball, and the second being how to transition the ball from one side to another. The first component of holding the ball correctly comes directly after you catch the ball. You want to transition from both hands to holding with one hand tightly against your body. The placement of the ball needs to be thought about as you are in this transition. The correct placement begins with the curve of the ball being placed against the forearm with one tip in the crease of your elbow and the other tip in between your index and your middle finger. Next, it's important to hold the ball tight against your body and high almost into your armpit in order to protect it from the other team knocking it out of your control. While you're running, it may be necessary to transition the ball from one side of the body to the other. And in order to do this, we need to transition from one side to the middle of the body while having the forearm of the other arm guard the ball. Once it's secure in the middle of your body, you're going to then transition to the other side in the exact same position as it began in your dominant hand. This transition seems relatively simple and will be successful as long as the end position is the exact same as the beginning position that we started to talk about earlier. Here we can see Adrian Peterson holding the ball exactly as we illustrated today. He is one of the best one of the best running backs in the NFL. And if you hold the ball like this, you will also not have fumbles like Adrian Peterson. If you follow these guidelines, your team will have very few fumbles and hopefully a lot of touchdowns. To sum up the points we've talked about today, we're going to go back to Lucas.
So that's just sufficiently covered the basis of a successful touchdown pass. First, we heard from Garrett, who talked about how to properly throw the ball. Then Eric talked about catching. And lastly, Jed talked about running with the ball. Passing involves proper hand placement and form, as well as a good follow-through. Then, catching requires also correct hand placement to ensure catching of the ball, and also keeping your eye on the ball so you make sure that you don't drop it. Lastly, running involves proper holding of the ball to ensure that you don't fumble, as well as transferring the ball accordingly as needed. These steps can be followed whether you're watching, playing, or even coaching football. And by following the processes we discussed today, and by having a decent team to help you out, maybe one day you can be the next Peyton Manning. Thank you.